Hey there, amazing athlete. Welcome to step 6. I think this is probably my favorite step in the entire process. It probably takes the longest. So don't think of that as a bad thing. Just consider the importance of this step. It's the one that takes the longest, but it's going to give you so much value. This is the epitome of when I talk about athlete sponsorship being available to athletes of all levels in all sports all around the world. It's because of this step. It's because the benefits that you can offer to sponsors are the thing that get you in the door. They're the things that get you across the line. They make you stand out from the other athletes who don't realize that it's not about your results on the sports field or in the arena or wherever you participate in your sport, that there is so much more that you can offer, and we're going to get stuck into that right now. It does take a while. This video is going to be probably longer than some of the other ones, and there's a fair bit of work for you to do. But I promise you, if you put the effort in during this stage, it is going to benefit you incredibly moving forwards. So let's get started. What I'd like you to do is to watch this video and then to read the instructions document directly below. Then take a look at the example. Now that example document, more than any of the other steps, is going to be, a strong guide for you. It's going to have really specific and general examples of sponsor benefits. And then once you've done that, you're going to start creating your content. The reason that it's so important to do this process, to have a library of benefits that you can offer sponsors, is that you're going to be able to go back to this list when you put your proposals together, and also moving forwards into the future when you're looking for more sponsors or you're looking to improve the sponsorships that you already have engaged. This list is like your resume of skills and abilities and value that you can pick and choose from and then tailor to suit specific sponsors. We're going to be looking at all of the things that you, as an athlete, can offer to potential sponsors. Now, the thing with this list, and I don't want to freak you out and say, hey, it's so much work. It is, but it's good work. It's exciting. It's fun. You get to find out about yourself, and it's going to underpin the conversations that you have with sponsors. It's going to be the stuff that you know you can offer that's of real commercial value to them. And when it comes time to sending a proposal or having a conversation, you feel confident because you know your value. You're not going asking for a handout. You're going with this swag of value that you're offering them, and knowing that you've got even more because you've got this big list of benefits. Chances are you're not going to offer everything up in one go. You're going to offer bits and pieces, things that are most suitable for the particular sponsors that you're contacting, but you've always got more to go back to if they're after more. So let's have a little look moving forwards about how this list might work for you. What I see happening so much with the athletes that I work with is they create this list once, and sometimes we create it together, other times they do it independently. And what happens over the next days, weeks and months and even years is that they're now in this headspace of thinking of ways of, sponsors, the ways that they can benefit sponsors. So this is a live document. You're going to come back to it. You're going to keep coming back and adding things in here and there. You're going to come up with ideas that are just going to be fabulous that you hadn't already thought of. So think of this as the starting point. We'll do the initial work, in the next few hours. But remember to keep coming back and adding to this. The beautiful thing about adding to this list is that when you go back to your sponsors in the future, maybe after they've sponsored you for a year, that you can go and offer them even more value and ask for more in return. So before we go into creating your list of sponsor benefits, I want you to understand what they're all about. So firstly, why is it important to offer benefits to your sponsors? We want these relationships to be valuable, not just for you, but for them. If they're going to last, if they're going to be sustainable, it has to be a two-way street, right? And, if you don't go in with value, first of all, you may not get sponsored. Secondly, if you do, because they're doing it, out of charity or goodwill, and you don't give back to that relationship, it can't last. People will run out of kindness or charitable thoughts, or maybe they want to put their money elsewhere to another, donation or charity. And you're not a charity, you're an athlete with incredible value to offer. So you'd be selling yourself short, and you'd be selling your sponsors short as well. So it's really important to identify what it is that you can offer that's going to benefit the businesses that you connect with in ways that help them achieve their business goals. So what is it that they're looking for in an investment with an athlete? They're looking to connect with a wider audience, or to connect with the audience they've already got, to be relevant and interesting and engaging and entertaining for the customers and the clients that they're already connected with. They might be looking for an ambassador. They might be looking for a face of their company to feature in their advertising campaigns, to attend events on their behalf, to be on their promotional material, their catalogs. They might be looking for athletes to engage within their organization. There's a lot of companies that have athletes who come in and do a motivational talk or just share their story. Maybe they do some practical workshops. Maybe you go in and do like a healthy lunchtime fitness kick where you take them for, if you're a runner, maybe you do some drills with them. If you're a kayaker, maybe you go in and you do some upper body movements that help them get loose and relaxed for their afternoon at work. It can be really practical and simple, or it can be complex. If you are an expert maybe in nutrition as well as being an athlete, could you go in and do a really relevant session on how to stay healthy and energized throughout your workday? There are so many topics, like billions. So think about your skills, your knowledge, and what you can offer back in a way that's relevant to a business. So they're also going to be looking for media coverage that gets them out to more people. They might be looking for content from you, so photos, written content like blogs or reviews of their products, testimonials about their products and service. They might be looking for you to help review and develop their products. 2XU is a brand here in Australia that uses athletes a lot for that. And it's a great way for them to test their products on real athletes before putting them out to market. There are so many ways you can benefit your sponsors, and I haven't even mentioned your sporting performance. Have you noticed that? Of course, if you go and win a gold medal at the Olympics, you're going to get media coverage, you're going to get lots of publicity. It's going to be great for your sponsors. But for everybody else, you don't need that. That's the cream on top. So we've looked at the kind of benefits. How specific do they need to be at this stage? They don't. This library that we're creating is general, and it's not specific to any sponsors. It could be that you've got a sponsor in mind and you come up with a specific benefit that you know will be great for them. You can still add it into this library. You can be specific if you want to, but you don't have to be. It could literally be, interesting social media posts from around the world. If you travel, what a great way to promote their products in interesting and lovely locations around the world. Or it could be, written reviews of products. It doesn't need to be any more specific than that. Now, I would strongly encourage you to get as creative as possible. Don't be limited. Don't feel you've just got to stick to the basics. Get creative and think of things that only you can do. Maybe you're here's a fun one. Maybe you are a surfer, but you're also a DJ, and you could do some really cool musical video featuring their products where, you've mixed some of their, their slogans or their messages within the music to do like a cool promotional video about your sponsorship with them. Whatever it might be. Think outside the square and get creative. There are some wonderful examples of creative benefits when you look through the example document. And everything I've just spoken about. In that example document, there's a list of all of the ways that I think you can benefit sponsors. So you can pick and mix from that and then add your own. Is there a limit on how many benefits you should have in your library? What do you think? No, there's no limit. There's no limit at all. You're very unlikely to offer all of these benefits in one go to anyone. So make it as big and diverse and broad as you possibly can. So when it comes time to choosing benefits for particular sponsors, you've got so much to choose from, and you're not trying to think of new ones. You've already got them there. So keep it broad and big, and don't feel limited in any way whatsoever. So over the next few slides, I want to take you through the different types of benefits, and I'm going to discuss how the different elements of these benefits are relevant. So what is the type of benefit? What are some examples? Why does it benefit sponsors, and why does it benefit you? You're probably going to want to watch this video again, at least from this point moving forwards. So that's cool. I know in some of the steps that we've already done, it's quite basic and straightforward. This is probably one of the more complex steps. So take the time. I would imagine it's going to take you 2 or 3, maybe 4 hours at the start, and then you'll just add to it as you go along. So the different types of sponsor benefits in an overarching sense are public speaking, providing content, ambassador activities, networks, so the networks that you have, social media, so traditional media like magazines and TV and radio, community, business and sports events, any event really, but that's the main headings. And then the other type of sponsor benefit is just getting creative. I don't know what the heading is, it's just getting creative and getting out there. It could be anything. We'll have a look at it in a minute. So public speaking. So it could be that you're speaking on behalf of the company or just doing your own general public speaking activities, which are great for your sponsors because they increase your network, which helps, direct people to them. So it could be sports, community, corporate events. It could be that you're speaking in-house with your sponsors. So they might have a product launch or be doing some internal training or workshops. It could be with their customer and client events. So it could be that they're doing some external or some public event and you can work in collaboration with them. So some examples of this. You could help participate in an informational or an educational presentation. Now that could be to the public, it could be at a trade show or an expo, or it could be in-house. It could be that, like I'm trying to think, Shimano did this recently where they got their buyers in, so all of the retail buyers that come to their head office for sales meetings, they actually got them in on the same night. They did a product launch and they had athletes there talking about the products. So it was really nice. Rather than just the salespeople, they had their athletes. You could do an inspirational or a motivational seminar. That could be a public one that you held with your sponsors. So it could be at their offices or their retail space. They could maybe get to say a few words as well. It could be done with their clients. Maybe it's a gift that they give to their best clients, that they share their amazing athlete with them for an hour to inspire their staff. Or it could be that you do it internally with your sponsors in their offices, at their workplace, wherever it might be. You can offer team building workshops. Now, as an athlete, you've got a lot of skills and knowledge that you probably take for granted. Skills that are so beautifully transferable into the business place. How to set goals, how to stay motivated, how to keep going in the face of adversity, how to overcome challenges, how to think big and achieve even bigger. So all these kind of things that you guys just do because that's your sport, when you break it down and you bring it into those kind of concepts, it's really transferable to workplaces, corporate or otherwise. And you can also offer training and coaching sessions. It could be specifically to do with your sport, or maybe you've got other skills. Maybe you're a yoga instructor. Maybe you're good at, you've worked in sales for 10 years and you can go in and offer some sales tips to their staff. whatever it might be, think outside the square. It's not all about your sport. It could literally be, and I love this, it could literally be a walking, talking lunch break. So you don't necessarily know what you're going to be talking about, because what you're doing is offering a forum for their staff or their clients to talk about, maybe a general topic like fitness. You take them out for a walk, you're all walking along and talking, and it just naturally develops. Now, what you're doing, what you're offering to that company is engagement for their staff or engagement for their customers. You're giving them the wonderful experience of exercise, even if it's just walking. That's a lot more than most people do on their lunch breaks. They typically sit down. So they go from their desk sitting down and they go sit down somewhere else and eat. So you're getting their endorphins going, you're getting the adrenaline going, they're getting a bit of vitamin D from the sun, and you're having a nice chat. They are going to feel better after that session. So you don't need to be an expert in anything to do that. It's a valuable offering to your sponsors. Let's move on. So why do sponsors benefit from this? They save money. If you're coming and doing sessions or speaking on their behalf, they're saving money on employing somebody else to do that. They get to be more engaged with their staff and customers or their clients. There's no extra training required when you do these kind of activities. You already know about them, and you know about your area of expertise or interest. This also provides content for them. So they might film it, they might take quotes, they might get their staff to make comments, take photos. Great for their social media, their website, all of their marketing. If it's a training session or a motivational session, they can capture that and they can share it with other staff or customers in the future. So it's really valuable content for you. The benefit is you get engagement with your network. So you're seen as that person who's adding value and engagement. You get social media content from it as well. You can do a selfie with the group at the very least, and at the most you get wonderful videos and further content to share with your network, but further evidence of you being a wonderful investment for sponsors. Your profile gets developed, you get to connect with more and more people, and your skills get developed. This stuff, these benefits are so much more than just being sponsored. It's going to help you throughout your life. And I see that every single day. Athletes that I've worked with, I see what they're doing in their lives, and I'm like, oh, I recognize that. I know where you got that from. And it's so, I don't feel proud. I actually feel grateful. I feel grateful to be part of their journey and to see how they are taking this stuff and putting it into their everyday life. So content. Here's another great area that you can benefit your sponsors, providing content for them. They can use this on their website, social media, in their advertising campaigns and promotional activities, and in their internal communication. So if they do a newsletter for their staff, or they've got an internal website or magazine, they're always looking for more content. The kind of content you can provide is photos, reviews of their products, maybe reviews of their events that they sponsor or an event that you've been to, something relevant, maybe a trade show that you attended with them. Blogs, your own blogs, it doesn't always have to be about the sponsor. It could be about health and fitness or about whatever it is that you write about. Articles, so magazine articles or newspaper articles. Testimonials, so that's when you write a testimonial about how great their product or service is. And I can tell you from my experience, in business, I often use testimonials from athletes that I've worked with, or they've read my book, or they've attended a webinar. And I use that to tell other athletes, that I know what I'm doing. Because if I just say, hey, I'm great at what I do, it's difficult to prove that. But when other people, athletes, say, hey, Vicky helped me get sponsored, or Vicky made my life so much easier or better, or whatever it might be, has a lot more credibility, and it's the truth. And I could never convince people as much as the athletes can. You can provide videos. You can show their products in use. That could be in videos or photos. You can share your personal or your athlete story. You can provide interviews, updates on what you're doing, fun and inspirational content. Like if something really funny happens when you're at an event, you can share that video or that story with them. And things like recipes. Recipes are really useful these days. Everyone's trying to get a bit more healthy. And whether it's you're sponsored by a company who has products that you use in those recipes or not, it doesn't matter. I think getting a recipe from an athlete is often, it sort of has more weight and credibility because we know that you guys use it for fueling or recovering or being healthy generally. So there's kind of no limit on content. They're just a few ideas. Now, the reason that sponsors benefit from this saves them time and money. The more content that they get provided, they don't have to go and find it or create it themselves. And it also gives more variety, so it's more engaging, it's more interesting for their customers or their audience or their staff, whoever's looking at this content. You're, as an athlete, going to be able to provide a much broader variety of content than they ever will. Now for you, the beautiful thing is a lot of this stuff you can create once and share many times. So if you write a blog or you do a newspaper article or you do some photos, you don't need to do them for every sponsor. You can create it once and share it with all of them. Sometimes you can tailor it, but you don't always have to. It's content for you as well. Having a sponsor that you're creating content for makes you create content for yourself. So it gives you a bit more guidance and strategy and clarity on what you need to create. Sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get to the computer and I'm creating social media content and I've got no idea where to start. I think, oh, there's so much, but I don't know which one to start with. So if I had 3 sponsors, for example, I'd go, okay, well, I need to create something for them. And maybe I can include my other sponsor. Oh, actually, I can include all 3. What a great idea. I can do a quick review of how I prepare for a race and do a little layout of the products and, all the things that I use for that race and talk about why I use them in a way that's, educational for the people that, look at my content. And I've covered off 3 sponsors in one hit. Now, the other thing about sharing your content is it's more exposure for you. The more you put out there, the more your profile gets raised. Now, I see that with athletes all the time. The more generous you are with content, the more it comes back to you in terms of growing your network, of getting more attention and potentially getting more sponsors coming to you. It does happen the more you put yourself out there. So ambassador activities. This kind of covers everything, but we'll keep it specific for now. But really, if you're an ambassador, you're going to be doing all of the benefits that I'm listing. So being an ambassador means you're the face of the company or the brand. More than likely, you'll appear in adverts and marketing campaigns and you'll attend and speak at their events. You'll be actively involved. They want you to be the conduit, the connection between their brand and their audience. You're going to be representative. You're going to be the epitome of their brand, personified. So the ways that they benefit is they get to connect with their target market and customers through you. And it provides great content for their marketing activities. Saves them money, saves them time. All of the other benefits get included in these ambassador activities. It's really crucial. I'll point this out now. It's really crucial if you're going to be an ambassador, especially if you're going to be the ambassador, like the main one. You have to love this brand. You have to believe in them wholeheartedly. If you don't, I would suggest you think very seriously about not taking on an ambassador role. As a sponsored athlete, you should believe in the product. You should like it. You should use it. You shouldn't prefer another product over it. But if you're going to be the ambassador, people will see through you if you don't really believe in the brand. So keep your integrity. Don't let the sway of money or prestige take you away from your values. If you get to a point where you're having this kind of slight question in your mind, is this the right opportunity for me? Go back to your values that we created very early on in this process and ask yourself, does this align with what I'm really about? Or is it just going to make my life easier and my sponsorship journey easier? Because easy isn't always good. It doesn't last. It can end badly. So I'm not sure if I've made myself clear enough. I think I have. Make sure if you're going to be an ambassador that you really, really love and believe in and want to represent this company. What you'll get from this, your profile will increase. You are going to be promoted by the company actively and your face will get out there. You'll get wonderful experience, skills, and knowledge that you're going to be able to take into life and into other sponsorships. It's going to really showcase you as an athlete. It's going to really showcase you. So when you go to connect with other sponsors in the future, additional ones or alternative ones, that you've got this body of evidence, this whole journey that you've gone on with a brand, that these other sponsors can see how beneficial you are and how active and engaged and wonderful you are. Your network will increase, and you're going to have so much more content to share on social media. People want to see you doing well, not just in your sport, but in life. And if you share it in a way that shows your gratitude and humility, people will want to come on that journey with you. So social media, that's a really obvious one. Now, for a lot of athletes, you may not have a big social media network. That's okay. It's not necessarily about quantity, it's about quality. And it will grow through all these other activities. Your social media network will grow. There's a workshop that we do in phase 2, in the maintain phase, where we look at how you can increase your audience, how you can increase your engagement, how you can get your network working for you to grow your social media. But for now, let's work with what you've got. Could be on Facebook, maybe you've got a website, a Twitter account, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever you've got. I'd suggest you don't have more than 3 or 4. I think it gets too hard to manage. If you're like a super genius, go for it. But if you're someone like me who feels a little bit overwhelmed having 3 or 4, bring it back down to 2. That's totally fine. Don't overthink it. Keep it simple. The more good content you have on fewer platforms, the better. If you had 10 platforms that you were using and you were only updating them once every few weeks, it's kind of pointless. So go for quality, not quantity. Now, the kind of stuff that you can offer to put on there for your sponsors is photos, reviews, stories, updates. You can tag them, you can link to them, you can link to specific content from them. Maybe there's a great article or blog that they've created or a video. Or it can just be to their website or Facebook page. Try to remember always that you're wanting to be entertaining and engaging and educational. You need to be giving back to your audience. So with every post, it's not just about promoting you. That will happen naturally. It's about giving great value and engaging content to the people that follow you. The benefits to your sponsors are that through your social media activities, they can connect with your network. They can increase traffic then back to their social media platforms. And once they've got people there, then they can do what they do with them. Whatever their marketing strategy is, they can start doing it because they've got that connection now. It's not for you to sell products or market. Your job is just to connect and share content. It's marketing, but you're not there as a salesperson. The way you benefit is you get to engage with your network. You get to give them varied and valuable content, so you're relevant and interesting and they want to share your journey. Media is important. The previous step, in step 5, for those of you who've already engaged media, you would have captured in a list all of the media activity that you've had up till now. When it comes time to putting your proposals together, it's great to be able to say, hey, I've been in 3 national newspapers, I've been interviewed on TV, and I was on a radio show 3 weeks in a row where we talked about, what are the top health tips for people who work in office jobs, or whatever it might be. And you can say through those media activities, I reached 200,000 Australians on the East Coast, because what you've done is you've listed the different media that you've had, but you've also done a bit of research to see what the audience for each of those media platforms was. The kind of media that you will engage could be anything from magazines to newspapers to radio to TV. That could be the news, or it could be a morning show or a chat show, whatever it might be. If you haven't already engaged media, that's okay. You can still include media as part of your benefits that you offer sponsors. What you probably can't do, unless you've already made the connections, is be 100% committed to, you can't promise them media if you haven't got it yet. But what you can say is that you will be working to engage media with XYZ, and you can list out some of the things. There might be a sport magazine that's relevant, or there might be a local business magazine that's relevant. What you can do is promise to try. So with a lot of the benefits, you can definitely guarantee that you're going to be able to deliver them. Media is one of those things that you just can't guarantee because, you're working with media companies, with journalists that might change their minds. So be careful when you offer this that you don't promise, you just say you'll promise to try. So what I'd suggest is you have a think about who your local media is, or who the relevant business or fitness or sports publications are, and you look at ways that you might be able to engage with them. You could offer to write a column. That column could be about tips, or it could be about reviewing events. It could be sharing your story. So what's your journey been like? Maybe it's been really difficult. Maybe you've gone through some really heavy stuff to get where you are now, and you want to share your story. Or maybe there's a topic of expertise that you've got that's not necessarily related to your sport. You might have another qualification. You could be a life coach. You could be a martial arts expert, and you can draw a parallel between martial art and life, for every person, how the skills that you get from martial arts can be put into everyday life. Be a black belt housewife, how to create a dojo in your own home. I don't know, whatever it is, get creative. Come up with some ideas and put them in your benefits library, knowing that when it comes time to engaging sponsors, you'll come back to this list and you'll think, oh, how can I make that relevant to this particular sponsor? So let's say the particular sponsor is a local fruit and vegetable company. What kind of media might they like? Do they care if they're in a national sports magazine? Is that relevant to a local fruit and vegetable business? Probably not. But know that when we get to the step a little bit further on in this process where we tailor benefits, that we'll find the relevance for each sponsor. So I'll give you a tip. For a local fruit and vegetable business, it's probably going to be a local publication read by the general public, because that's their audience. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect businesses with their audience, or further connect them with the customers they've already got. That's just a bit of an insight for you as to how we're going to tailor these in the future. But for now, we're just creating a big master list. So you benefit from media in so many ways. Your profile gets increased, you get experience with interviews and with telling your story, maybe a bit of writing, looking at being creative in how you give back to your sponsors. This is all great experience for you. Your network gets increased. Your content in social media gets interesting because you get to share maybe a video of you being on the news, or an article that was written about you. You can share that as content. And of course, it helps you engage with sponsors in the future because it's evidence of your value. So for those of you who have already engaged media, awesome. For those of you that haven't, don't worry about it. It's cool. It will be beneficial. It's not vital. You don't have to have it to get sponsored, but it will help. And in phase 2, I'm going to be teaching you how to get media coverage. So either way, you're all good. Keep going, and if you've already engaged media, keep engaging more. If you haven't, you could give it a go, or you could wait for phase 2 and we'll do it together. Attending events, that's a really valuable proposition for sponsors, to know that you are available for them when they run events, or they sponsor events, or they attend events. These could be community events like fairs and local community festivals. It could be business events like seminars, conferences, expos, trade shows, or it could be like business networking events. It could be sport events, so community sport events, public sporting events, high level, low level, community sporting events. They're all kind of integrated there. So there's no limit on the kind of events that you could offer to participate in for your sponsors. Right now, we're keeping these benefits very broad, and you'll see in the example list what I mean. When it comes time to engaging specific sponsors, you'll do research on them and you'll find out what events they already participate in, so you can be quite specific when you offer to attend their event with them or be part of it. The kind of things that you can do: you can assist at their booth at an expo. You could present an informational or an educational or a fun session. Let's say they've got a booth at an expo or the local community fete. You could do some kind of fun activity for kids or even for adults, where they do like a physical challenge or even some kind of mental challenge. Guess how many times, someone's won a particular event, or, trivia kind of thing. Whatever it is, something that's engaging. It gets people engaging at that booth or at the company's booth at an expo or a trade show or whatever it might be. You can get involved with the participants. So if it's a fun run or a community sporting event, be part of it. Offer to be the group leader. Maybe it's a marathon and you can be the pacer, or maybe it's an obstacle race and you can offer to be the person who stays with the back, whoever's coming last. That's a really humbling experience, especially for a good athlete, to say, do you know what, I'm not going to race in this one. I'm going to be there with the person who is coming last. I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to motivate them. I guarantee you that's going to boost your profile. It's going to endear you to the community of sport. And it's also going to be great social media content. So yes, you're doing it for personal gain, but I bet you love it. I bet you feel really happy and humbled by the experience. So think outside the square. It's not all about promoting yourself. It is, but it isn't. You can do social media from the event, so you could offer to your sponsors to be their social media person for the day, taking photos, uploading stuff, tagging, sharing, maybe interviewing other people there. Whatever it might be, look at how you can be of service to your sponsors. You could help run competitions and activities. Now that could be in the lead up to the event on social media, and then actually doing some live announcement or live final competition on the day. You could offer to be the event MC or a race caller. Get involved. Look at ways that you can get involved in events. So the sponsors benefit because they've got a representative. They've got a fun, relevant person connecting them with their audience. Because look, let's face it, there's a lot of companies who've got salespeople or marketing managers that aren't that great at connecting with their audience. Like, they're really good at their job, but put them at an expo booth or at a public event, and it's just not their thing. And the audience doesn't necessarily want to go and talk to them because they don't want to be sold to. But if they see an athlete, you're there doing something fun, you're engaging, you're friendly, you're much more approachable. So they're more likely to find out about the company through you, and they can ask you questions. You're the end user, you're the person who's using the products and services, and they can ask you about it without feeling like they're being sold to. It's really powerful. Sponsors benefit because they're saving money and time. If you as a sponsored athlete go along to an expo, that's potentially one less staff member that they have to pay for. Plus you're benefiting because you get much more exposure to the public or even specific audiences. Your network increases, your skills are developed, you're getting so much more social media content, your profile gets boosted. People see that you're that person representing a company. They see it at the event and they see it on your social media. And your networks and opportunities will increase. The more you go out and connect, the more opportunities you connect with. Potential sponsors, maybe someone sees you there and they say, hey, you're fantastic. I'd love to pay you to come and speak to my staff. And there you go. You've got a one-off, $2,000 1-hour talk to do. It happens. I see it happening quite a lot where they don't necessarily want to sponsor you and you don't want them to sponsor you either, but they can engage you for a one-off or a short-term activity. So put yourself out there and I promise you amazing opportunities will come your way. So here's the thing, right? Those are the topics, and I know that you're probably feeling really overwhelmed now, and that's okay. There really are so many benefits that you can offer. Go back and watch this video again. read the examples and get ideas for the ways you can benefit your sponsors. But more than anything, get creative. Think way outside the square. Pretend the square doesn't exist. Be unlimited. Think of things that only you can offer your sponsors. Now, a couple of cool things. For example, one of my clients here in Melbourne, who's a sailor, saw that the company he was wanting to get sponsored from had sponsored someone over in America. Now, that one of the things that they did once they were sponsored was they got their race car spray painted by this famous graffiti artist, and they did it in a public space. And they had this famous DJ playing as well. So, wow, what an amazing thing to get an audience. It's not really about the guy's sport, is it? Like, he was a racer, in a car racer, but he put his car there to be graffiti sprayed, with music playing. Now, you don't have to be into sport, you don't have to be into music, you don't have to be into graffiti, but seeing that as an activation, how engaging is that? And what a great promotion for the sponsors to show what a cool company they are. That athlete's profile got boosted. Heaps of people with social media, doing stuff on social media, tweeting the image, Instagramming, doing videos of it. His profile went through the roof. So that's just one example. There are so many more. In fact, I'm going to be doing a blog in the next couple of weeks. So probably by the time you watch this, there'll be a blog available in the Athlete Hub about creative ideas for sponsor benefits. So have a look for that. Don't be limited. Get creative. If it sounds crazy, awesome. If it sounds completely impossible, even more awesome. When it comes time to tailoring your benefits, we'll look at how you can make it real. But don't worry about that for now, just have fun with it. So the way that you're going to do this, now you've watched this video and probably watch it again, read through the sponsor benefits example document and tick or asterisk or however you want to mark it next to every benefit that you think you could deliver. So you're not even writing your own benefits at the moment, you're just marking next to ones that already exist which ones you think you could do. So there's a main list of benefits, but then there's also examples from real athletes. Go through that list as well and see if there's any of those benefits that you think you could deliver or that you'd like to deliver. Then download the Step 6 worksheet, which is a Word document. This is your library. This is where you're going to keep your big master list of all of the benefits that you can possibly give. And you're going to keep this as an active file on your computer, or you can print paper copies out. I think keeping it on your computer is probably the best way, but absolutely, if you want to print it and write it by hand, that's okay as well. Now at this point, it's a really good time for me to remind you that you should have a folder structure on your computer. If you haven't already set up folders for the Athlete Hub content, go back on the Athlete Hub to the Start Here section. So on the front homepage, there's a little box that says Start Here. Go in there and open the document that says Suggested Folder Structure and set that up on your computer so that all of the documents that you're downloading and creating and using get saved in those folders. Now it's a very basic structure, you might want to add some more to it, but if nothing else, use that structure and keep everything in the one spot. Because when it comes time to putting your proposals together, you're going to be going back to a lot of these documents and taking information out of them, particularly this sponsor benefits library. So start to populate your list under each of the headings, which we've just discussed, so the things like media, social media, ambassador, etc. Don't worry if your benefits are a bit vague, if they're not specific. That's okay, just get them down. If they are really specific, that's cool as well. There's no right or wrong for this. Write down as many as you can and keep adding to it over the next, days, hours, weeks, months, and years. It's your go-to list for whenever you're trying to engage sponsors or adding value to the sponsorships you've already engaged. Here's a beautiful quote. And I think it's particularly relevant for athletes seeking sponsorship because many of you, I know I've had conversations with you where at the start of your journey with me, the start of our journey, You've expressed concern that you're not winning gold medals, or you're not number one in your sport, or that you're not even elite and you know you never will be, because that's not your ambition. So this is for you. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. It's not just relevant to your sport activities, it's life. Be of value, because I promise you, the more value you give, the more you will get back. Success will be a byproduct. Success will happen. But if you focus on success, you become self-obsessed, you become selfish. You think about yourself, not others, and it just won't work. But if you focus on being of value, success will come naturally. Albert Einstein said that, so I tend to agree with a lot of what he said. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. Shoot me an email. Does that resonate with you? Did that just have an impact on you and your view on your sponsorship journey? I hope so. In fact, I hope you already thought like that, but if you didn't, then I hope that that's given you a little bit more of an insight into why we're doing this and why this step is such a big one, and why I've been talking to you for the last probably half an hour about getting this step happening. It's not about getting it right, getting it happening. So, the actions for you. Read the Step 5 instructions document that's just below this video. Take a look at the Step 5 example. Watch this video again. And then use that Step 5 example to identify the benefits you can offer initially. Then start creating your content by populating the Step 6 template. And I can see there it says Step 5 Media Register. That's a mistake. Do you know what? I'm human. So it's actually the Step 6 template that you're going to be populating. So don't forget to add your own ideas in as well, and keep growing this list over time. Don't forget, monthly webinars coming up, and I want to see you in the Athlete Hub Facebook community. Whether you're liking other people's posts or actually making your own posts, making comments, asking questions, sharing answers, get involved. I'd love to see what you're up to. If you've got a great photo of you participating in your sport, just share it. Love to see it. So well done. This is Step 6. It's the big one. Take your time with it and keep going. If you're getting stuck, if you've got questions, post them on the Facebook page, and myself and the other athletes will be there to support you.